We mentioned how their own clients are becoming their competitors, not to mention AMD still trying to be and also ran in this space, not to mention Intel really languishing. But can Nvidia remain the king when it comes to AI?
Well, maybe. I think it's a strong maybe there. And maybe they do rule the hardware world, or a lot of it, because, there really is no substitute right now. Here's the thing, though. Human beings are incredibly inventive. And Nvidia, although they always trot out the fact that they have software that developers may use, I think the very largest developers that are using these chips are writing their own software, not depending on CUDA. So keep that in the back of your mind. But I believe what DeepSeek has shown the investing world is there's more than one way to skin a cat, and just throwing really expensive chips and tons of chips at a problem is not always the answer. So I'm looking out there for innovation in the software world to make the build out of a data center a little less key into developing AI in the future. So more software, less hardware.
Kim, do you think that the market has fully priced in the impact of DeepSeek?
No, actually. And I think this is a really difficult area to talk about AI without really nerding out. So let's keep it at the 50,000-foot level.
This is the show to nerd out on, Kim. This is a show to nerd out on, just saying.
Okay, yeah, but okay, I'm trying to restrain myself. But here's what I see is the essential problem, is there are limitations in the physical world, power, how quickly you can build a data center, how quickly you can build chips, the machines that create these exotic chips, how quickly you can build that. It's all a physical world problem. In many ways, software is exactly what we've used in the past to become more productive. And why not use it on AI itself to use these data centers that we already have and rethink the software and the training, testing, and validation kind of exercises we do to build large language models? Why not make that better by better software? Crazy.
Well, you have the background to nerd out on this, because before finance, you spent more than a decade working on this stuff. I mean, this was 20 years ago. So you've been thinking about this stuff for a long time. But now, do the economics of inference work? Do the economics of agentic models work right now?
I don't think so, because they're so expensive to build, and it doesn't look like people are lining up to buy it. I mean, is it really that simple? I think the answer is yes. I have not been convinced that there is a strong enough problem that can be easily identified and thus monetized in AI. Do I think it's the future? Absolutely. But I think that businesses who have to put their assets at risk buying this stuff and then using it, and remember, a lot of large language models are 85 to 95% correct, and that is underwhelming. If you're going to build your business on something that's incorrect, 10 to 15% of the time.
Yeah.
These are real world problems that we have to get unexcited about and fix. And again, my answer is software, because that's what that's my book. I know that area, as opposed to building better hardware.
Well, go to the software. Go to the newly released open source software, Dynamo. And look, there's crowing that makes DeepSeek's R1 30x faster when you run this new open source software being offered by Nvidia. So are they not adapting quickly enough? Because it certainly feels as though they've got an answer for everything.
Well, I think what we really have to do is attack. I mean, faster is better, right? But then how do we stop wrong answers? That's where the humans have to come in and kind of build stuff around that to wall off the bad answers. And, whenever I was doing this back in the late 90s, that's where a lot of our time was spent on refining the models, was to make sure that we weren't returning bad answers. And I don't really see that as a focus. And again, I'm talking my book, what I know, and it's still a problem. That's the crazy thing. 30 years later, wrong answers are still a problem.